Okay, shalom brothers. Welcome to another episode of GMS Walk and Talk, here to feed the elect through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Today I'm going to talk about basically the Masoretes and who they are, and the wicked deeds that they did concerning the scriptures, in particular the Hebrew translation. I got Elder Ramlab here with me as well, because you know, he's known for doing videos like that, going into certain words, and I mean, you can you're sitting here, so you can
yeah, I know pretty much it's just history, you know.
Going into the history, exactly. So I'm gonna begin to read this. It says the Masoretes excise these books because they were Edomite Jews, so-called Jews.
Yeah, them Masoretes. You know, because when you read the Hebrew Bible today, it's they call it the Masoretic text. You know, certain texts they call it Masoretic text, and those Masoretes really, they were so-called Jews. They were Edomites. You know, that translated, you know, the Bible between the 7th and I believe it was the 10th century AD. And basically what they did was they changed certain things in there, but the Spirit of the Lord gave us the ability to go into it and to be able to discern what's correct and what's incorrect.
Yeah, right. And that's why we're doing this lesson, because I did a series on Ruth, and the reason why I did it, because you had this guy who calls himself the Tribe of Judah Teach, and he did a video entitled Ruth the Israelite. Now when you go and watch the video, there was a lot of inconsistencies in there, basically because he didn't know how to discern what the Blue Letter Bible was saying, because he used the Blue Letter Bible in that video that he did, and he wasn't able to discern the pitfalls. Now one of those pitfalls was the use of the word Nakaya and the word Ga. So this is like a GMS Walk and Talk extra that we're doing right now to further explain that, why in certain scriptures you will see where it should say Ga, which Ga is the proper word for Israelite foreigner. Where it should say Ga, it'll say Nakar or Nakaya. And that was done by the so-called group that calls themselves the Masoretes. And that's why this is the body of this lesson. So reading on, it says the Masoretes excised these books because they were Edomite Jews, Edomites, so-called Jews. And these books in the original Greek are very explicit in matters of race, especially the missing portions of Esther, First Esdras, Wisdom of Solomon, and Sirach, which is also known as the Book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. The four Maccabees document how the Edomite Jewish usurpers gained control of the temple and gained political power in Judea during the revolt of Judas Maccabee. The Edomite Jews, and you know that's so-called Jews,
Right,
obviously wanted to suppress this information because it shows clearly and factually that they are usurpers impersonating the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, they are descendants of Abraham and Isaac, but not Jacob. That's why we had a joke years ago. We'd see them so-called Jews and we'd say, Lo Jacob, which means not Jacob. You know, we used to, I don't know if you remember, we used to get off on that back in the day. You know, and then they used to look at us all crazy, you know, because first they were trying to figure out how the hell do we know their so-called Yiddish,
right,
and how we insulting them in their own language, you know. Reading on, it says that they are usurpers impersonating the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we explained that. Thus, every one of these books and every scripture contained in the Greek Septuagint is detrimental to the Edomite Talmudic Jews. And we should mention that really the so-called Jews, which are the Edomites, they're not really into the scriptures. Their main book is the Talmud. All right, that's their main book.
Yep.
It says the Jewish Masoretes well knew what they were doing to the Septuagint when they used it for the basis of their new Hebrew Masoretic text, even to omitting over 1/3 of the book, selectively editing it over the centuries. So many take the current corrupted Masoretic text as being the true Old Testament and the basis for all following translations and editions. Even Strong's Concordance, thought to be properly and cohesively edited, did not resort to the Septuagint for confirmation of proper word use. By comparing the Hebrew of the Masoretic text with the ancient Hebrew or with the Greek language used in the Septuagint, they simply accepted the Masoretic text as always valid when it is not.
Right, and you know, with the Septuagint too, they go off in the Septuagint too.
Yep, Elder Tar did a lesson on that.
Right, on the Septuagint, right. So, but you know, you had certain things that were on point that they didn't have to mess with, you know. But certain things concerning like race, they always had to mess around with it because basically they knew that they're not Israelites. I just got a quick precept real quick.
Yep, bring it up.
This is our 2 Ezra 5:1. It says, "Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come, that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith." And that's why today you have what you see today, because of the fact that the land was barren of faith for a while. And when the so-called Jews took over, their main purpose was what? To make themselves look good and make everybody else look bad. And make the world, you know, because they're deceivers, to make the whole world think that they were the Israelites.
Right.
You know, and then seeing that they knew they weren't Israelites, and they have the power over publishing, you know, and over making these books, they omitted certain things and added certain things just to be able to fit themselves in there.
Yeah, to paint the portrait of them being the real Jews or the Israelites. As a matter of fact, if you would like, you could bring out the book of Job 13:4.
Time.
You know, and this is why we're doing this lesson. So, you know, you got the Blue Letter Bible out there, and how many times we tell you that the Blue Letter Bible is not 100% accurate.
Yep.
You have to know how to go in there and pull the meat out of the bones. But yeah, go ahead and read that.
This is Job 13:4. "But you are forgers of lies, you are all physicians of no value."
Yeah, so an example of the lie that they forge is corrupting the ancient Hebrew text.
Right.
And we're going to give you an example of that in this lesson.
That's right.
So reading on, it says, unless you have a...
no, I'm going to hold on to this one, and you know,
Okay.
this will go good after you finish. You know.
Did you finish it? Or
Yeah, that was it on that. Yeah.
Okay. They simply accepted the Masoretic text as always valid when it is not. And I want to say this. Basically, when we do videos, all right, we do videos as a service to the elect.
That's right.
All right? We're not doing videos to become popular. This is not a popularity contest here. All right? Our main goal, like when you play basketball, your main goal is to get that ball through the hoop and score points, right? Well, if you use that analogy concerning this is what we're doing here, our main goal is to reach the elect. Whether they be among us or whether they be outside of us. Because you still got members of the elect that's out there. And that's why we're doing these lessons. As a matter of fact, Paul made a statement. He said, "I endure all things for the elect's sake." So all of this energy is really for the elect. And to tell you the truth, you're going to be hated more than you're going to be loved. So this is not done for a popularity contest.
Right.
A lot of you guys out there, you do videos because you look at this thing as a thing of fame. All right? As a thing of gaining popularity. All right? Well, this is not what this is about. All right? So reading on, it says the substitution of misapplication of words is evident. For example, when we examine the use of one common English word, stranger, for many different Greek and Hebrew words.
That's the point.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
And that's the point. I mean, when you go into the Greek and you look at the word stranger, there's different words in the Greek and in the Hebrew for stranger. You know, but the thing about it is they just use the word stranger. So when you look at the word stranger, to you it's just somebody that's a foreigner, you know, or somebody that's of another nation.
Right.
You know, but you have no understanding of what that word really means in its original writings.
In the original text.
Yep.
And that's one of the main words that tripped that guy who did the video, Roof, the Israelites. That's one of the main words that, or main word that tripped him up, the word stranger.
Yeah, it's gonna even.
Yep, we're gonna go into it. Yep. Let me read that again. The substitution or misapplication of words is evident. For example, when we examine the use of one common English word, stranger, for many different Greek and Hebrew words. Both the Greek and Hebrew words for the stranger are found to be similar in nature and characterization, and at least 4 primary root words with several other adverbs are found in both languages. So today, non-Christians goad Christians by asserting that to be Christian, one must welcome all strangers and give them our best. But we are wrong to do so. God is very clear in distinguishing various classes of stranger. Strong's lexicon has encouraged the error because they fail to compare the several Greek words for strangers to the Hebrew used by the cunning Masoretes.
Yep.
And those Masoretes were so-called Jews, you know,
That's right.
devils, Edomites. When it suited their purposes, the Masoretes changed the type of stranger. When it suited, did you hear that? When it suited their purposes. Now, what was their main purpose? To show that they were the Israelites.
Right.
To try and show. I'm talking about the so-called Jews. When it suited their purposes, the Masoretes changed the type of stranger as one not to be associated with for one that could be affiliated.
Right. So basically what it's saying that the Masoretes, they did, like, because when you read the scriptures, certain strangers you ain't supposed to deal with, but then other strangers you can deal with. And the difference is that the strangers that you're not supposed to deal with are the people of the other nations. But the strangers that you are supposed to deal with are Israelites that become strange, or that are from a different region or from a different land than where you're from.
Yeah, the law of the strangers
Done.
would apply to them.
Yep.
The group Elder Ramlab just mentioned.
Yep.
But then you had the actual strangers.
Right.
As a matter of fact, if we had to put an example on that, bad meat. Now you wouldn't give, according to the law, you wouldn't give bad meat to the Israelite stranger.
Right.
But you could give the bad meat to the actual stranger.
Right.
The law actually says that.
That's right.
All right. And the word for Israelite stranger is God. All right. There's no other word. The Hebrew word for Israelite stranger is God. There's no other word that describes, no other Hebrew word that describes the word stranger. All right. The Hebrew Israelite word for stranger is God. And the word God comes from Gershom, which was a son of Moses. And that son was born in the land of Midian. He was an Israelite that was born in the land of Midian, making him an Israelite stranger. So in the New Testament, the Israelite strangers, they all come under the word God, which comes from the word Gershom. All right? Did you have
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could find that scripture, but...
Well, you know, we'll post it in post-production. You'll see it if you can't find it.
All right.
And then, like you said earlier, we were talking, Elder Ramlab and myself, we were talking, you brothers got to start looking, man. You got to start, if you hear us say something, you got to start looking for that.